Well, I'm all good. I appreciate it. I'm assuming you'll be in
Hi,
touch.
Yeah,
time is
we
up 0.
will.
Just check the front
All
desk.
We
right.
will.
Sounds good.
All
Thank you,
right. You can
Rosner.
call me if you want to yell at me. You want to yell at me. I did.
It's all good.
Bob, just to be clear, I did try to give you like the cleanest off, like based on what has happened, right? You know what has happened. I'm not even gonna ask you what has happened. I just wanted Seamus, the gun he used to shoot Matt Martin, and to tell us where the properties were that the stuff was, and they refused that, like multiple times.
I heard it was a counter offer though.
Their counter offer was unlock everything, and one of them will go in and get it and then give it to me, or the lawyer would give it to me, or I would be able to raid the properties, but I would only be allowed in the very specific containers that it is in. And I'm like, that's not like 4 of those aren't legal. Like I can't prove chain of custody of evidence if a lawyer suddenly turns up and gives me 4 PD weapons or some shit.
I mean, does chain of custody matter if it's a possession though?
Yes.
In what way?
And then I need to prove who has the custody of the evidence. Like, who am I going to charge for the possession of this PD equipment if a lawyer turns up and gives it to me?
Well, I can tell you that somebody, I'm not going to say who, but I'm pretty sure somebody had already expressed to you that they'd be willing to take ownership.
Nobody has. Sean said that he would, at best, he would tell me he would. I had to unlock the properties. They would then get the stuff, and then after all of that had been done and all the raids weren't going to be concluded, then he would submit to a conversation with me. He would then go into interrogation with me.
He told me today that he wanted to have a conversation with you, and then we got word that you guys were raiding properties, and I mean that kind of put a damper in the offer.
I mean, like, you gotta. I have all of the codes at this point. I'm giving or attempting to give you guys a branch. I'm getting called a pussy by my own damn department because, you know, they want me to go in hard. I mean, you guys kidnapped a lieutenant and shot her and held a hostage. Like, of course they want me to go in hard. I know you guys. If somebody kidnapped one of your own, you'd go in there. You'd go in fucking hard. And it's valid. You know, I wouldn't necessarily agree with the illegal manner in which it's been done, but it's a valid reason to go in for vengeance, and God bless it and seek mercy on your soul for doing it.
But the question is, if how do I word this? If somebody knew where something was and tried to and didn't express the implication of location, not implying that it's even in a property. They
did imply it was one in a property, but also did imply that I wouldn't be able to find it.
So, I mean, that's counterintuitive, though, right? Would it not be?
It's like, one, I don't know if I can believe anything that Sean McQuillan says. 2, he's implied it is in a property, but also not in a property, so I can't take either of them as factual.
So because you can't take out either one as factual, it's just go hard or nothing?
Well, it's not even going hard. Like, I'm basically doing the bare minimum here.
I mean, the bare minimum is not... How do I word this? I think this could have gone very differently. I think this... Like, I'm not sitting here claiming to be innocent by any regard, but I think this could have been handled very differently. Truth be told, earlier today when I yelled for Erin and I asked why I was not being let out on my hold, she told me to, and I quote, "Bring it up with the DOJ. That's not my problem." And I said, well, it is your problem. You're the one that submitted for the extension on the hold. And then I was reluctantly told that that's a me problem, not a her problem. discretion still goes somewhere, right?
Discretion
And the
does go somewhere,
discretion,
yes.
Erin still has well within her right to turn around and say, hey, we have no reason to hold him anymore. But the way that she worded it and threw it back in my face was, it kind of just felt like a fuck you. And I guess my issue that lies is from my perspective, right? Now, let's be honest. You probably don't need to give me any leniency with this. But if I'm in for my max hold and I'm being told that everything is on lockdown already and that there are things already being pushed and that, you know, the ball is in your court, why would I make an attempt to even try and work with you at that point? At that point, you're telling me already that you've used the letter of the law to fuck me as far as you can. Why would I want to have any cooperation on the record?
For the record, well, I guess we're technically off the record at this point, but just to be clear, I did not ask for the extension of the hold, or, you know, it was a conversation that was had between a number of us, but I did not request or put forward my suggestion that the extension should be held just to fuck you. There was a completely valid reason that you may or may not find out soon or later. I'm sure I can tell you at some point, either if we push the charges or after statute of limitations, why it was extended. But there was an entirely valid reason for it. The first one being, I needed to have an interrogation with you where I could definitively prove that the period of time, like an EMS saying, yeah, that he was not high on morphine, we both know that that could go probably either way in court. So I wanted to ensure that there was an interrogation where we could state that you were not high. I could probably argue the first one you were not high, but is that an argument really worth having and then potentially losing and that whole interrogation getting thrown out? Or would it be better practice in order to have a proper interrogation with you in which we can definitively state you were not under any influence? But that wasn't the
Rosner,
only factor.
Let's be honest with ourselves, though. Like, just... I'm going to speak off the record if you're cool with that.
Okay.
You want to be off the record for this?
Yeah, this is Joe Rosner to Flop to Gong. No rank.
Okay. I heard you outside. You heard a gunshot.
Yeah.
You go inside. I'm the only person in there.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You solved your own case. There wasn't a fucking cubbyhole for someone to... This wasn't Among Us. You know what I mean? No one vented. So I guess I'm confused. I understand the interrogation part, but I feel like some of that interrogation didn't even need to happen. And I think you know that too. I think it was more for confirmation.
No, there was... one, yeah, some of it's for confirmation. It's good to have multiple points of evidence. I am a thorough individual. Let me put it this way. We had the who, right? That it was you. We had the where, because it breached the building. I had the what to an extent, not fully, but I had the what in that it shot her. I saw that you shot her, and I know what happened in that specific moment. And I asked you this, and I asked Sean, why?
And?
None of you will tell me. That's a very pivotal question in this.
But if there's anything that I was honest about, it's that I actually don't know.
Yeah, and I believe you on that matter. I do actually genuinely believe you. I have many reasons to doubt your word. Or would I have more trust with you than I would say that I have with Mr. McQuillan? So, yeah, no, I do believe you. And...
Goodbye.
Goodbye, God bless.
Take it easy.
I do believe in part, and you can take this as offense or not, I do believe in part you were thrown to the wolves.
I mean, I could care less what you think. Right?
I know.
And that's not me like biting back. I'm just being honest. I don't really care what the implication is from your perspective. regardless, I was the one there, so I'm being, to some degree treated as the primary, I would assume.
You.
I don't know. I think the only point I just want to make is there could have been an easier way that this could have gone, and it definitely does feel more like a fuck you because fuck you, which, granted, to some degree, I get. But I would have to imagine there could have been a different scenario that could have come out of this. So
I can give you my word on God, and that is something that means a lot to me. I would never do fuck you just for fuck you. That's malicious. Lord is there to judge.
I tried to ask you a question on the record earlier, and you said I don't want to hear it, and then stop the recording.
Mm-hmm.
That felt pretty malicious, did it not?
No, I don't think that was malicious. I understood that you were trying to get something out of me that I was unwilling to give. I'm trying to be gracious and attempted to strike a deal that could result in less pain. I'm not joking. I've had a number of people call me up. The idea that we would not be raiding all of the properties when we have PC for all the properties we do have PC for, and trying to strike a deal in order to raid less properties is not a well-liked idea by a lot of members of the PD. Why would we offer something when so far all that has happened is an officer has been taken from us and their life was almost taken from us? Why would we give something when all that has happened so far is taken?
Well, let me ask you this. You're going to go do whatever you're gonna go do, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you don't find everything?
We'll find a way to keep looking within the confines of the law.
Right. It's all good, Rosner. I mean, at this point, it is what it is. I think a lot of us feel very strongly that we tried to cooperate, and it feels like we didn't get anything in return. So I see your perspective, but I do think the majority at least feel very differently about that, which is fine. There's nothing that we can do. We're on two different sides here, but
yeah, we can agree to disagree.
So whatever you're gonna do, I'm sure my word isn't gonna change any of it, but I would ask you not to waste your time, and I know that that's not gonna mean anything. So,
well, I appreciate you for having this conversation with me.
Did you guys take my dusters?
I was not the one to process your stuff. I don't know.
I'll find out in a minute, but if so, then it is what it is. I was just gonna see if I can get those back.
Don't imagine they would have been taken, but I guess we'll find out in 2 minutes.
Someone's here to see me, apparently.
Oh.
I'm just gonna walk by them and then walk up behind them.
Okay. All right. God bless.
I feel like they don't really have an understanding of their consequences. I feel like they recognize they've done wrong. They recognize they're going to get consequences for it. They were just trying to lessen the consequences, which I'm kind of agreeing to meet in the middle. It's just our middles are too far apart from one another that it can't, like, we can't agree. It was similar to the whole Remedy and the VAF legislation, right? What Remedy wanted and what Angel wanted. They both wanted to meet in the middle, but their middle was too far apart that they couldn't agree, so they just had to disagree. This is kind of the same situation. We just have to disagree. Like and people like Brian Knight are right. Like, they kidnapped one of our officers. Why would we give them anything?